All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Blues Deluxe. It's my honor and pleasure to have Troy Turner on with me today. How are you, Troy?
I'm doing fine, and you?
I'm good.
Great.
Tell me a little bit about where you came from, where you started out. I know down south, you're from Louisiana, right, originally?
Yes, I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Wow. And you live now in Canada.
Well, I lived at several other places before I moved to Canada, but yes, I am based here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
That's great. What's the blues scene like in Edmonton?
Well, you got to make your own blues scene. It's not much of a blues scene. It used to be,
Yep.
uh, but Edmonton is very strange. They have a lot of musicians that are playing versatile music. In other words, you have to play what the people like. But the blues scene, I make my own blues scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, a lot of the musicians here are mostly jazz, rock, metal, southern rock, country especially.
Yep.
And all I'm trying to do is just keep it alive and try to keep my career going where I'm from. You know, a lot of the jazz musicians really don't respect the blues musicians because it's so simple, they think, you know.
It's
But,
not, though, surprisingly enough. It's not.
just like Stevie Ray told me, so you got to play it with that feeling,
Yep.
and if you can't play it with that feeling, it shows.
Oh, yeah.
It shows, buddy. And everybody said, "Why you just a show off? You just or either you too loud." Well, Albert Collins used to say, "If you can't feel it, ain't no sense of playing it."
There you go.
And I've hung around both of them. I hung around both of them, and they always gave me good advice. Albert Collins took me on this wing, But me being from Baton Rouge, I was starting off like in Prince and stuff like that, and Mars Day and the Time and Cameo. But while I was from, if I wanted recognition to become like those guys, I had to do the music and play something that the people like where I'm from to get some noise making there and attention
Yep.
and hanging around Chris Thomas King. Um, I call him as Chris. I mean, we started at his daddy's club, Tabby Thomas.
Yep. Tabby's Blues Box.
That's right, and we used to go to Phil Brady's on Government Street where they had a jam session every Thursday night. Shannon Williford started it off and used to go set in. And I didn't even have a real guitar. I mean, uh or a real amplifier. I had like a Hondo, a Gorilla amp, and I get to these blues clubs and these older men like Silas Hogan guitar, Kelly, Henry Gray, Larry Garner, uh, all of them got Gibsons. Well, Henry Gray was a piano player. He played with the late great Howlin' Wolf.
Yep.
And that's who I grew up around, people like that in the Neal family, Kenny Neal, excuse me,
Yep.
the Neville brothers, in New Orleans and opening up for many bands in New Orleans at Tipitina's. The Neville brothers, War Spirit, Steppenwolf, Edgar Winter, Leon Russell, the Ohio players, Albert Collins, Coco Taylor, Etta James, Bobby Bland, you know, Jeff Healey,
Yep.
and Walter Washington, Marva Wright. Um, I can go on and on. And that's just a source of them, just a little bit. And playing these jam sessions get some recognition. A lady by the name of Tony Bova, who used to pretty much own the Blues Festival downtown Baton Rouge. And I was fresh out of high school. I graduated in 1986.
Yep.
And we went to a jam session called Byron's in Catfish Town. And again, Shannon Williford, who's a celebrity of having the most valuable, outstanding blues festival in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that is.
Yep.
And me and Darnell, Kenny Neal's little brother, who plays bass with Kenny right now, we wasn't no more than 14 or 15 years old.
Wow.
Um, and we would go to these jams. We wasn't even old enough to get in bars,
But you were playing them.
and people liked us because we played like grown men,
Yep.
and we were cute. And they would let us play, and they would let us play. And I played my very first blues festival in 1986. I was only what now 16 years old. I
Yep.
graduated from high
Yep.
school. And Kenny Neal came in. He was living in Toronto or Vancouver. I think it's Toronto. And Kenny played bass with Buddy Guy.
Yep.
And then he decided to go out on his own. So Kenny always let me sit in, and he bought me Bob Greenlee. I met Bob Greenlee when I was 17, 18 years old. And Bob said, "Well, you're not ready to sign with a label yet." But I was making enough noise from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. I was already playing jazz festival. I was already playing with people like J Monkey D, rhythm guitar player, little kid. Um, playing the Maple Leaf, Tipitinas, Rock and Bowl. These are clubs in New Orleans.
Yep.
Um, jazz festival. And a lady by the name of Allison Casolo saw me, who used to manage Professor Longhair. She actually took me and introduced me to people like Dick Waterman, who managed Buddy Guy,
Yep.
Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah, I remember him.
Next thing I know, I was playing the WC Handy Awards in Memphis. I had several deals on the table. Jay Miller out of Crowley, who produced Slim Harpo. I didn't take the deal. I went with Bob Greenlee, and I kept ringing that man's line off the hook, off the hook. That's all I did was stayed on the phone. Yeah, I stayed on the phone. I had my little calendar. I had a list on who I should call. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a chance." But before that, I forgot something. In 1988, Live to Live Productions, Sonny Snyder at Tipitina's. I was on a complimentary album with Marva Wright, Dash Rip Rock, Johnny J and the Hitman, Rebirth, Brass Band, um, Shot Down Ecuador, the Radiators, the Blue Runners, Walter Washington, and that was me. And he asked me would I like to do one song to be on a complimentary album with those artists I just mentioned or just named. And it wasn't King Snake then. So Sonny Snyder said, "Okay, well, come on down, get one song together, and we're gonna put it on there." So it was a live recording. It was called Live to Live at Tipitina's in 1988. Jim Green was the producer, and it was Ooh La La Records. My very first recorded, Fast as I Can Go.
Yep.
After I did that, Bob Green got a whiff of it. And the first time I ever flew on an airplane, I couldn't sleep for a week. I was counting down like I was incarcerated the days when I'm supposed to be released. And the first time I ever got to ride on a 747, that was exciting.
Wow.
So I landed in Orlando, Florida from Baton Rouge. We got in the studio. We recorded my first album, Teenage Blues in Baton Rouge.
Yep.
You know, I forgot to mention, I grew up in church. My grandmother, Edna Mae Turner, was the one that put me through music school. I don't only play guitar, I play six other instruments. I played tuba in the marching band. I play bass guitar, I play piano. I play a little trumpet, saxophone, trombone, baritone, and I read on all of them.
Wow.
And now back to Bob Greenlee.
Yep.
We got in the studio. I didn't even have a record out. And after playing Jazz Fest, I get a call from a guy by the name of Jussi Vahama from Helsinki, Finland. Wanted to bring me to Finland to do 3 shows.
Yep.
I get on the phone at King Snake Records, and I don't know how Bob Greenlee knew that I called Finland. He said, "What are you doing calling Finland on my phone?" And I like to mock Bob because that's exactly how he talks. I can mimic anybody. I have
Yep.
perfect pitch. He said, "Don't be calling F in Finland on my phone." I said, "Well, they want to bring me over for a tour." He said, "What? You don't even have a record out. Now I got to push back all the product that I had lined up to do." He said, "But I got to give it to you. You're not
Yep.
like the rest of them that hang around the studio like a little dog looking for a bone." He said, "You're doing it all yourself." He said, "I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with you." He said, "All right, let's get in the studio and do it and get this done." So he called up some studio session musicians. I didn't like the drummer. I tell you, he's not the one. He's got to go. I was a little kind of cocky when I was younger, because I wanted this. I didn't need anything to get in the way.
Yep.
And guess who walked through the door and never had no clue who he was, what he was, what he can do. And I'm gonna tell you, it was Lucky Peterson.
Wow.
Lucky Peterson. Me and him and Bob Greenlee studio. And Lucky don't have to rehearse. You just sit him on the organ or anything, the guitar, and he knocks it out the first take.
Yep.
Lucky was just that good. Awesome. And I
Yeah.
miss him.
I remember seeing him play both guitar and keyboards in the same night.
Yeah. hmm Me and Lucky used to hang out at King Snake. And while I'm in Florida, Bob booked me some gigs like at Universal Studios.
Yep.
Um, I played in Castleberry, Florida. And guess who I got to play with in Castleberry, Florida? And I'm trying to think of the name of the club, Castleberry, Florida. But I can't think of the name of the club. It was so long ago. Derek Trucks.
There you go.
He was a little bitty boy and the guitar bigger than him, but man, the slide, I think he had to put 2 fingers in it to make it fit. He's a little bitty thing.
Yep.
And I already had a Gibson endorsement, a Marshall endorsement. I think he even had back then Reebok, Adidas endorsement
Yep.
because he always wore the little cap. And man, when they put that slide on that kid and it sounds like Dwayne.
Yep. He does.
hmm I mean,
Even better. I think he's even better than Dwayne was.
well, a lot of these kids these days are playing some serious guitar, man. You better be up on your level,
Yep.
up on your game. And so I had no clue who Derek was gonna be. I mean, I'm right there in the middle of everything, and then I go to the studio. That's what's his name? James Taylor's brother, Alex,
Yep.
hanging right there on Gatemouth Brown walking in there. Some of the Allman brothers and Bob Greenlee had it going on, man. I mean, I had no clue who these people were.
But you were in the midst of all of it, and look where it got you.
Lazy Lester, you know.
Yep.
I even met Rufus Thomas, and I didn't know who he was, but I heard his songs.
Yep.
And Bob Greenlee takes me to Rufus Thomas show. I say, and I was that kid, always wanted to do this in class. Me. And I was a go-getter. I wasn't afraid. I wanted that I always had that go-get-it attitude, you know.
Yep.
I said, "Do you think he'll let me sit in?" Bob said, "I don't know. Why don't you go ask him?" Man, I went up there to ask Rufus Thomas, can I say? He said, "Sit down somewhere, little boy, and learn something." you know. sit on and so I'm and learn something, you know. And Bob said, "What did he say?" And Bob just looked at me and smiled. He said, "Did you learn your lesson? Don't ever ask nobody to sit in. Let them invite you."
There you go.
Uh-huh. He said, "You disrespecting yourself." He said, "Let them invite you. And if they don't invite you, then when you see them, invite them. Then maybe when you go to one of their shows again, they invite you."
Yeah.
I remember in 1990, I stayed on Stevie Ray, and I said, "Please let me sit in with you." He said, "Well, come back and ask me in 15 minutes. My big brother's supposed to sit in." That's talking about Jimmy.
Yep.
And I went back in 5, and he had me escorted from backstage. But I still didn't listen to Bob Greenlee. Okay. But I want to show you this. This is the last time I talked to him. And we
Oh,
arguing right now
that's a
on this.
great picture of you and Stevie.
Yeah. And I asked him, I said, "Why won't you let me sit in?" And he said, "Who is this guy? I want to get in from backstage." And he's met me before, you know. Stevie met me at Grand Street Dance Hall, and fresh out of high school, my high school teacher was Debbie Puckett. Her daddy owned a studio in Bogalusa called a Studio in the Country. His name was Leroy Pickett.
Yep.
Puckett. Puckett, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
That's where the Neville brothers recorded. Johnny Winter, the Neville brothers, all of them recorded there. Gatemouth recorded there. Wilson Pickett, all of them. That's where everybody recorded. That's was on major labels. That is pretty much history right now.
Yep.
And back then, people were very racist down south. And I had to lay on the back seat of her what kind of Chevrolet Chevette,
Yep.
and she took me from Baton Rouge to Bogalusa to meet her daddy. And she said, "I'm sorry, Troy, but you got to lay down on the back seat." She's Caucasian,
Yep.
and she saw me tote my guitar around campus and asked if I could really play that thing. And matter of fact, she was the one that introduced me, got me to meet Stevie Ray. Skip Ricker was his manager. And when I got to Bogalusa, and when I got it, she got me out the car, and her dad said, "You know better than to bring that color kid around here. What is so important, Debbie?" And back then, if they saw black and white in a car together, they're gonna do you something. And you know who I'm talking.
Yep.
And so when I play, he say, "Here, put that guitar down. You need a real guitar." I had a Hondo, probably $125 guitar. It was pretty. It looked like a Gibson. So Debbie Dad puts a Strat in my hand, and I played one chord. He said, "Where'd you find this kid?" Debbie said, "Dad, I told you." He said, "Well, he's got potential, but he's still playing P cards. He needs to learn some cards." And he hurt my feelings. Our dad was hardcore. He was a producer. Most producers are, even the movie producers.
Yep.
So I actually, she said, "I'm so sorry about my dad. He's just like that. He's like that with everybody." I said, "That's okay." This before I met Bob Green, this before I even met Kenny. So Debbie did me a favor since her dad hurt my feelings so bad. She looked in the newspaper and she found me a 1972 blonde Telecaster, hard shell case, bought it from Old Country Picker for $300.
Wow.
I, I didn't have $300. I was still living with my parents. I didn't have that kind of money. And she takes me out to the music store and buys me an amplifier, a PD band at 65, and it kicked A.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to tour from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, opening for the Neville Brothers and all those bands I mentioned.
Yep.
I started to have to go out and play with the big boys, and I had a real guitar, I had a real amp. I got to finally get to record with King Stink and got sent to filling for the 3 days and um, getting write-ups in major magazines like, you know, Living Blues and Guitar World. This one right here, Guitar World.
Yep. Nice.
I was in Guitar World twice. I got to go to Memphis and hang out with Rod Bland, Bobby Bland's son, and Kelly McDonald, the bass player, used to come from Memphis to play with me and go on tour. Um, Touring from, Mark Weiser from Tobacco Road in Miami. Susan Kane used to book me at Skipper Smokehouse in Tampa. Um, so it got to a point to where now I'm on the road, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Lubbock, Midland, Corpus Christi, Kerrville, Arizona, New Mexico, California. You know, by that time I'm 21. I'm having nervous breakdowns. Doctor said I need to take it easy and rest.
You're a busy guy.
Man, Christmas, Thanksgiving, I didn't have time for that. I don't spend my Thanksgiving and Christmas in Waffle Houses all the time. It doesn't matter to me, but I never missed a gig. And I got to get a call back from Finland, and then we go for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep.
I couldn't listen to the radio. I didn't know what they were saying. I couldn't watch TV. I didn't know what they were saying. I remember I lost some of my luggage and I had no cosmetics. And I went down to a store to see if I can even find toothpaste. And I saw something that looked like toothpaste and I bought it. Most of them couldn't speak English. Most of the Finnish people can't speak English, and I know Americans can't speak Finnish. So I didn't have my translator on this 2 or 3 week
Yep.
tour, so I had to do the best I can. I mean, I'm putting baby oil in my Jerry curl when I had one back then, and that didn't work. Uh, I had to go out and buy some new jeans, new shirts. I had nothing, not a toothbrush or nothing. But back to the toothpaste, I ended up buying horseradish, and when I put it on that toothbrush, put it on my man. Look, I was ready to drink out of the toilet. It burned so bad.
Wow. Horseradish. That's radical.
Oh my God, it was devious.
Yep.
So I had fun out there on the road, Bob Greenlee. And then I met a man, Ed Felsot, Dick Waterman. All of them started to getting more records out. And Lucky
Y-
Peterson was
You have
on
a
it.
great memory of all that stuff.
Yeah, maybe because I basically stayed away from the bad stuff.
That's good.
But what happened to me, how can you forget?
Right.
I had my fair share of addictions. And I don't drink now. I don't do I don't even smoke pot. I don't do nothing.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Hey,
And so,
you were a Prince fan growing up. I read.
oh my God, yes. Oh yeah, that's what they called me in school. Capital Prince. I was the high school artist because I like to draw. I drew the cartoon characters and
Yeah.
I wrote poems and stuff. And I wish I had still had the writer when they called me the Capital Prince, which I thought I was. But let's see, can I find a picture here?
Do you ever run into Prince at all in your travels?
Yeah, I did. Check this out. That was me in high school.
Wow. Nice picture.
I went to prom by myself because all the girls thought I was gay, but I wasn't. Guess who I was dating?
Who?
The high school teacher who bought me the guitar.
Wow.
She was my geography teacher. She taught me one way around the road map: music, the business, and that's what I was going to do. When I first met Prince, I played the Iowa Blues Festival. I think it's Mississippi Valley or something like that.
Yep.
So I was close to Minneapolis, right? So we went to First Avenue. I met Jeff Daniels, and it was nothing but cornfields there, I said I want to go to First Avenue. So we went to First Avenue, and we went there before the door was open, and
Yep.
uh, and I looked over at the bar, and he was sitting there. And I even gave him props and special thanks on this one, Teenage Blues in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And I walked up there. I said, "Hello, how you doing?" He goes, "Yes, may I help you? The bar's not open yet." And I just stared at him, and he said, "Yes." And I shook his hand, and I told him I gave him props on my first album. He said, "So you're a bluesman?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "The blues is cool. Can you play anything else?" And I was so scared and nervous because I didn't know what to say, you know.
Mhm.
And he's so sharp, you know. And
So what did you say to him when he? How did you answer that question?
I froze up
Yeah.
like I'm doing now. I didn't know what
Yeah.
I don't really remember what I said. He said you had to come back at this time, and the jam session starts at this time. So we did, and he wasn't there. So I have a friend of mine named Jay Mays out of Baton Rouge who used to tour with Prince on the Purple Rain tour, and he got me backstage at the Baton Rouge Centralplex. And I heard somebody, I was there before the concert, and I heard somebody yelling and screaming, "That don't go there, this don't go there." And he had on overalls, his hair was slicked back, but he still had on heels. And I walked up and I shook his hand again. And then he goes, "Why they letting people backstage?" And look at this guy. He's oh my God. I had the pants with the buttons on the side, and oh my God, it was just crazy. But that was the only two times I actually got
That's great.
to hang out there. And here's a picture with me with the pants and the buttons on the side.
Yeah, I see it. Nice.
And yeah, I'm a big Prince fan, and he's also one of my idols.
Well, I also read in your bio you got another fan, David Lee Roth, liked your first two records, which is wow. That's great. Great little publicity.
Yeah, I was in Orlando, Florida, and I was playing the Blue Note on Orange Avenue, and I had no clue who he was. And he walked in and actually sat in. He said, "Yeah, I used to sit in with Steve Ray Vaughan." I said, "What do you play?" He said, "I sing." I said, "I don't remember Stevie letting nobody sing because it's not easy to get on stage with him." And I didn't recognize him. He was all tore down. He was, high and drunk and everything. I don't want to put nobody's business on the street, but we all been through it. And so we get on the road. We leave in Florida. We almost to Tallahassee. And I just outburst. I was driving. I had a 1982 Dodge Voyager van 318 in it. Me, my bass player Anthony Hardest, who played with Finn Robinson and James Cotton. I can't remember what drum I had because me and drummers really don't get along because I like my beats a certain way. I'm like James Brown when it comes to my drummers. But I just burst out, "Damn, that was David Lee Roth." And my bass player said, "Yeah, no shit, you should have let him sit in." I get a call from Ed Felside the next day. "Troy, what was wrong with you? You know who that was you turned down?" I said, "No." He said, "That was David Lee Roth, but he did mention you and got you in Guitar World magazine."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
quite a story.
he's from Orlando, Florida, you know?
Yeah.
So I had no clue it was David Lee Roth. And I don't even think he was with Van Halen. I think he was going through some, we all been through it.
Yeah.
But I wish I can see him again one day and tell him I'm sorry.
Well, he had nice things. He has nice things to say about your first two records. He really likes them, based
Yeah,
on your bio.
yeah. And here's the second record. Handful of Aces reached 3.5 stars in Guitar World magazine recommended by David Lee Roth.
See that?
And right here, Edgar Winter, I was in New Orleans. I was playing rock and roll, and this guy walked up to me and said, "Man, I'm working on a movie cast, and I'm looking for a guitar player. And people told me to come check you out, and I hadn't seen nobody that can play good enough to be on stage with or in a movie with Edgar Winter and David Bryan from Bon Jovi." I said, "Huh?" And I didn't know, when you're in the club, people drinking, they blow smoke, and you don't know if they're true
Yeah.
or real or not. And he said, "Well, here's my information, and call me." So I immediately had Ed Felside on. Now Ed Felside managed Mick Taylor, the guitar player from the Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
and he managed other people too. And I mean, Ed was on the ball. And so after I did that, and Ed said, "Yes, Troy, is real. You need to get ready and go to the movie set." And so I got to meet Edgar Winter. I got on the movie set, and Edgar embarrassed me on the whole set. He said, "I thought they were hiring professional musicians to do this. I don't have time to tutor, but guitar player, what's your name?" I said, "Troy." He said, "Troy, I see something in you. I see the potential you have, and I need you to come to my hotel room ASAP." And Edgar taught me my parts.
Wow.
And so I kind of like shot the bull up Edgar's back, and I just knew I was not going to have the added to persuade Edgar Winter to play on this album. And so me and Liz was out. I was dating a German girl then, and she, when you just have a beeper, there was no cell phones
Yeah.
and an answer machine. You get your messages. You press a button, dude, you have a message. Oh, then the voice come on. So she went in and answered the messages. She saw the light blinking on. She said, "Troy, come listen, Troy, come listen." "Hello, Troy. This is Edgar Winter. I'm gonna be in Orlando, Florida, and if you're still doing that record, I will be more than happy to participate." So he left this number, and I gave him a call, and I called up Bob Greenlee, and that's how Handful of Aces came about. Lucky participated on it also. This album here, I tell you, I had fun doing it. There was no horns overcrowded. Bob Greenlee had the tendency of doing that with all his artists, overcrowding the album with horns. It was straight raw. I already written my lyrics and everything. It reached 3.5 stars in Guitar World, recommended by David Lee Roth. It had Lucky Peterson and Edgar Winter on it. And when I told Bob, I said, "Yeah, Edgar Winter's gonna play with it." And he goes, "See, you seem to never amaze me. How in the hell you got Edgar Winter to come in my studio?" Because I was in the movie Netherworld. I was the guitar player in Netherworld.
There you go.
Then I got in the Peter Green tribute. Ed Felsot did that for me. And now here I am, 57 years old. Well, I mean, there were other albums came about. Telarc,
Yeah, I remember that record. I have it.
okay.
That's a great record, by the
And
way.
there's a lot of artists on there. I mean, I got to meet Muscullings from Living Color and go to New York. I played at Tramps twice and got people on here I don't even know, but they're very well known.
Yeah.
And around that time, I was going through, you know, problems with drugs. And I'm not gonna mention what drug it is, but I tell you what, I've been clean now 15 years.
Good for you.
And I didn't get to tour that album because at the time I very delusional. I'll just say that way. I didn't know which way to go. I just I don't know how to say it, but it was the grace of God the way I'm able now to talk to you. Okay.
Well, that's a
This
good thing. You're able. You're still going, and you're playing, and you're clean. That's good.
Yeah, and after being clean for so long, this is the last album I recorded. Whole lot of blues came out on Evidence
I
with
remember.
us, and so now I am in Canada. I've been married now going on 10 years. I met a Canadian girl. I was playing a place called Visos on Decatur and Frenchman, and she heard the guitar, and when she walked through the door, I couldn't keep my eyes off her. And she brought me straight here, and I've
The,
been playing places,
the rest is history, right?
Well, now I am. I would love it to be history. Um, I just got diagnosed with prostate cancer,
Wow.
but it says beatable, but it's like 127. I don't too much like to talk about my health problems, but I want to get back out on the road. I want to play more. I want to travel the world like I used to. And I'm looking for management. I'm looking for because Ed Felside is gone, Allison Casalo is gone, Bob Greenlee is gone, Dick Waterman is gone. I have nobody that I know that can put Troy Turner back on the map like he should
You will be though.
be. I need some help here, and my wife is actually 10 years older than me. I have a thing for older women. Okay, I don't have time for a girl back then my age to call me every 5 minutes and ask me what I'm doing. It's either me or the guitar. I've been through this. Um, I need some money. No, see,
You got it.
they will blues you, and these older women will let you know, hey, I want you or I don't want you. They don't beat around the bush. Now they got some. If you got fame, you got money. Oh yeah, they there. But no, I found one that didn't accept me for that. But my first wife did, and I can't mention no name because I don't need any lawsuits.
So the last record was Whole Lot of Blues you've done, correct?
Yes, yes, I have four, and also I'm on the Peter Green tribute. Um, I think I'm on some other complimentary albums, but I found out through the grapevine when I go through everything about me, and I don't like to read much because some things that I really take it serious that's not true that are in my documentary or in my write ups or whatever, and I really get upset. Even people will write things to make themselves look good. And
So tell me how you got on the Peter Green tribute.
a guy by the name of Ernie Goodman. I was in New York recording this album, Portland, Maine. I did half of it in New York, the one on Telarc, Randy Labby. And Ernie Goodman found out I was in New York and he said, hey, I would like to bring Troy in to be on the Peter Green on this new project I'm doing, and I had no clue it was the Peter Green tribute. So Ernie Goodman brought me in on that.
It's great.
Hmm.
I'm a big Peter Green fan, by the way.
Oh my God. Um, between him and Jeff Beck, I mean, they guitar tricks, and I have perfect pitch, like I mentioned early, and I love the way how they do certain pentatonic scales, and how they can take that pick and do pull off harmonics.
Yep.
That's what trick a lot of guitar players here in Canada that I intimidate. And I don't mean to intimidate them, you know. Get up on your game, man. Practice, listen. Um, I've hung around a lot of good guitar players. I never forget when I let Brian Stokes sit in with me, who played guitar with the Neville brothers. Taught me a lesson. Well, I'm thinking I'm the best guitar player on the planet. Man, we got out there and did Red House. He made me. He made me go home and practice. My guitar, my bass player, Anthony Hardesty, dogged me all the way back from Tipitina's to Baton Rouge. And I went and rented me a practice room and bought me the biggest amplifier. I bought a crate stack, 412s, two 412 cabinets with, excuse me, with a 100-watt head. And I rented me a practice room just for me, and I just went in there and I went crazy.
See that?
And
Guitar players push other guitar players. You don't realize sometimes.
right, right. And another thing, when I was on tour in Texas, I was actually on the same circuit when Stevie Ray started off. And so the club owner said, "Hey man, I got this guy gonna come see you, and he wants to set in with you. And he's the best guitar player here in Lubbock. It was Lubbock, Texas, or Midland." And he said, "Yeah, he blew Stevie Ray off the stage here." I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." And the guy was standing right there the whole time. He was like the guy who picked up all the cans in the bottom, sweep and mop the floor, clean the restrooms and the outside area, and he lived in the back of a pickup truck that never ran again. I didn't know it was him. So 15 minutes before the show was over, he said, "Hey, you gonna let this guy set in?" I said, "Where is he?" He said, "He's right here." And so I had two Fender Twins on the unit, and I told Alistair, my bass player, he's from Cleethorpes, London, which he did play on Handful of Aces. And Alistair went and got that Fender Twin and just a straight cable, no effects. And when we kicked off a song, I never saw fingers move so fast, and my whole face was long. It's I-10 from California to Miami. I never seen nobody play guitar like that before. I canceled my tour and went home and practiced. A monster. Looks like he ain't got nothing. He's just so humble, scraggly hair, zits and bumps in his face. You
And
look at
who?
his,
What was his name?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
He was like the masked man, bro. This dude just, I mean, he looked like he couldn't play nothing. He was all scrawny and skinny and
Yeah.
all cramped over. Man, I put that guitar in his hand. He came alive like Frosty the Snowman when he put the hat on his head.
Wow.
Scared me. And I said, "Whoa, dude, I was so scared I couldn't even pick a string. I dropped the pick." And now, club owner say, "You think you good?" He said, "Further west you go, the better they get."
There you go. So Troy, tell me how
Yeah.
people can find out about you. You have a
Well,
website.
yes, it's Troy Turner Blues. No, TroyTurner.ca. And there's videos available on YouTube, Troy Turner. Just Google Troy Turner, the guitar burner.
Awesome.
And
You ever get to New England? You should come visit me.
bring me there. I have a friend of mine named Steve Courage who actually used to manage Clarence Edwards. I don't know what part of London he lives, but we trying to get me over there to England or London, but I don't know who to contact. Like I said, I have no more contacts or anything, you know.
But
I don't know if
you still have name recognition, so that can help you.
see that little black dot over in the corner?
Yep.
That's me on stage with Edgar.
Nice.
And I had this book a long time, and most of these pictures, I had some with me and BB King, and my grandmother's house got caught afire because she left a pot on the stage cooking greens. Me, Dan Aykroyd, and Buddy Guy.
That's a great picture too.
Um,
You keep all your pictures. That's good.
well, it's my life.
Yep.
It's a very, very valuable book. It's like a Bible. There's me and Jeff Healey.
Yeah. He's a funny guy. I remember me talking to him a few times. He was a jokester, is what he was.
Well, Jeff offered me on to go on the road with him, and I turned him down. And I wished I wouldn't have. And my wife today used to be a photographer for a local newspaper, and she said, "Yeah, I remember Jeff Healey." And I went to his show. I said, "If I would have went with him, you probably would have met me then." But anyway, here's some more pictures.
Yeah.
Me, Leon Russell, and Edgar backstage. Me, Edgar, and Carmine, the drummer for Led Zeppelin. Uh, Carmine, they call him something else. I can't think of it, but I think you can recognize him.
Yep.
And that's David Bryan
From Bon Jovi. Yep.
on keyboard, Edgar there, and me in the background. The movie set in Netherworld.
Awesome.
So, Living Blues magazine.
Yep.
Abby Thomas, Chris Thomas,
Yep.
Troy Turner, Kenny Neal, Raful Neal. You know. So,
So Troy,
yes, sir.
what do we you have any gigs coming up?
You know my calendar is wide open. What you got?
I don't have anything, but if I did, I would. I would. I'd give you something.
I would love to come to England, and like I said, Steve Courage. I gotta call him, but I don't know. He don't want me to bring my band though, and that's the only problem I really have. Um, because if I get over there with guys, like I said, I'm very picky. If that drummer's not with
What
that,
you want is not happening.
and if you can't play, I will walk off the stage.
There
Okay,
you go.
I'm not gonna embarrass myself because of you, because I know what I could do, and I know that sounds a little arrogant, but if you're gonna do it, you're gonna play it right.
Yep.
Here's some more picture. That's a picture of me and Derek.
Wow.
Me and Chris Thomas.
Yeah, I've interviewed Chris Thomas
You
a
know, I
couple
was supposed to
times.
do that. Yeah, you know, I was supposed to do that movie with Brother with Art Dow. I turned it down.
He's got a nice book he wrote about the blues.
Yeah, he should. I should too. Look at me and Bo Diddley.
Wow. Very nice.
And that's me at 16 years old at Tabby's Blues Box.
Wow.
I wasn't even wearing the hat then. Um, Honey Boy Edwards.
Yep. You got it all. You've been
Oh man,
around. You've been around it all. Every part of it.
me and Jimmy Vaughan.
Yeah.
That's when I was a pretty boy.
Well, Troy, I'm going to let you get back to what you're doing, and I want to say thank you for taking some time out of your life and your music.
Yeah. Hey, check this out. Me and
Awesome.
Jimmy.
Yep.
And I recently just came from Austin, Texas, and hung out with Jimmy. And he found out I was in the States. He said, "Hey, I heard you're in the States. You think you can get your ass to Austin?" I said, "Yeah." Well, come on. Call me when you get in town. I'm playing at Seaboys 2 nights. So me and my wife hop in the van from New Orleans and we get to Austin, Texas. I walk in, Jimmy was happy to see me. He was about to go out with Eric Clapton. You know. And I canceled gigs to go see what Jimmy wanted. The club owners today, one of them understood, one didn't. How can you cancel on me? Who the hell you think you are, Elvis Presley? And I tried to explain to him, I said, if somebody called me, like Buddy Guy, Jimmy Vaughan, I'm going to go see what they want, no matter what I'm doing.
Right. You're going to drop everything and go.
I say, I don't want to play Phil Brady's all my life. Those kind of guys don't call you every day,
Right.
you know? And you're lucky to get a call from them. You know, you gave me a gig to take a door where I started, and the club owner cursed me out and pretty much told me don't come back. I wouldn't go back, but because if you in the NFL, you have a chance to go to the NFL, and you in college, and they tell you to drop the Pittsburgh Steelers tell you to drop out of college and come join. Uh, what would you do?
Drop out of college and join.
Yeah, they about to give you millions of dollars and
Yep.
put you up, and you set for life, which what you gonna do anyway.
Yeah, and you can always go back and get your college degree after.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna sit back and wait on you and listen to you tell me, or cut me down and say no. And thinking I'm Elvis Presley. No, I'm not Elvis Presley.
But that's why you've been in all these situations you've been in, because you went to those things that, like, Edgar Winter's a perfect example of that.
Hmm.
Perfect example.
Yeah,
When the opportunity hits, you go.
yeah. I never thought I would get to hang out with Edgar Winter. And my drummer Tom Barrow said, "Man, this Edgar Winter sitting behind me." I said, "Yeah, me and Edgar are friends." Well, Troy, how did you do all this? You know, he's just a drummer at a jam session. Phil Brady's the little club I'm talking about, the club owner that got pissed at me because I canceled because Jimmy Vaughan gave me a call and go see what he wants.
Yeah,
I
well,
said, bro, well, hell with you.
yeah,
You
you're right.
paying me a door gig when I can go talk to Jimmy Vaughan and might get to hang out with Eric and Clapton and, yeah, this is what I've been doing all this life to meet those guys and to be up there with those guys, not to hang around where I started.
Yeah, you're one of those guys, though, by the way.
Well, thank you.
You are. You are one of those guys.
Kenny Neal,
Yeah.
high school.
Hey, if there's a high school picture, that's a great picture.
Yeah, I thought I sure was Prince, boy. I thought I was Prince.
Well, Troy, I'm going to let you go. I just want to say thank you very much for taking some time out, and
Okay.
look forward to new music from you down the road.
Well, I am looking for a label. I do have a few albums in the can. John Tiven he's from New York, but he's
Have you
based out of
have
Nashville.
you talked to Blind Pig Records?
That's what I want to talk to you about. No, sir, I haven't.
Jeff Schradel is the gentleman. I can get you his info.
Okay, you have my phone number?
I don't, but I might be able to get you via email. I have your email, I think.
I would rather for you to
Call
answer the
you.
phone because I told you my wife just blasted a computer.
Okay.
My number is 780.
Hold on. Let me write it down.
And give me your number if you don't mind giving it to me.
Yep. 780. Go ahead.
718
Yep.
2583. Repeat it back.
780-718-2583.
You can call me direct.
Okay. I'm gonna email Jeff Schradel at Blind Pig. Tell him that you're looking to put together a new record. And if he's interested, he might be interested. He's got new artists all the time on the label, and they just started last year again.
Okay, I'm ready. I can go anywhere. I got musicians here and I have musicians in the States.
Okay. Let
I'm
me
ready. Hmm.
let me see if I can hook you up with him.
Okay, now what's your number?
617
1617
543
543
0163.
0163. I'm calling you now. What area code is that? Boston,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay. All right, that's me.
There you go.
Now I'm gonna lock you in. How you spell your first name?
John, John.
Last name?
Guregian.
Gure.
Gian. Guregian.
That is French.
Armenian.
I never would have thought of that. That's the first time I heard that word.
Yeah.
And I got you locked in, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Do you play any instruments, John?
Drums.
I need a drummer. I'm not kidding. I have a drummer in Louisiana, man. He's so awesome, so bad, but he always get full of weed and forget that he gets a gig, and he shows up late all the time. He was late for Ground Zero, Morgan Freeman's place in Biloxi.
Yep.
He was he was late for French Quarter Fest in New Orleans.
Wow.
So I have drummers in Louisiana, but I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody's freelancing, and man, I got some awesome bass players. Holy shit! But on a level like this, you know who I will be able to probably get to play bass with us? Okay, are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
I'm ready.
Muskilling.
There you go.
I got Muzz's number. Hmm.
You'll get them.
Yeah, if the money there, they'll be there. Muzz is actually teaching autistic kids music and stuff like that. He's the original bass player for Living Color, and he also played on this album.
Yep.
Uh, Muzz showed me around New York. I was in Manhattan, and I got to meet Vernon Reed,
There you go.
and he wouldn't let me touch his guitar.
Of course not.
Jesus Christ. I wanted to play one of those Kramers, and I actually went and bought one. But man, when you bust a string with a Floyd Rose tremolo and the Kramer Chauvel Jacksons, they all the same. You bust one string because you got to operate on the guitar. You're all out of whack. Ain't nothing you can do. I don't care if you know your skills. You the best
Yep.
guitar player in the world. You would never be in tune.